Lesson 7.4, Polynomials. A polynomial is a monomial, one term, or the sum of monomials, or more than one term. A polynomial is also a binomial. It's a special name for the sum of two monomials, or a trinomial, which is a special name for the sum of three monomials. Bi, the prefix bi means two, and the prefix tri means three. The first thing we need to do is be able to identify whether an expression is a polynomial, and we will need to classify it. Let's start with number 1, 4y minus 5xz. So the question is this a polynomial? And the answer is yes, it is. Classify it. Well, it has two terms, 4y and 5xz. Therefore, this is a binomial. Number 2, negative 6.5. Negative 6.5 is a constant, and if you recall in a previous lesson, we learned that a monomial, a monomial can be a constant, a number without a variable term. So negative 6.5 is a polynomial. And what kind is it? It's a monomial. And it's a monomial because it's one term. Number 3, 10x to the negative 4th minus 8xa. Well, this is not a polynomial for various reasons. First of all, 10x to the negative 4th has an x in the denominator, and also negative 8xa has a variable for an exponent, so we don't know what a is. So no, this is not a polynomial. And number 4, we have 5x plus 7xy. Is this a polynomial? The answer is yes. And again, it's a binomial. Okay, let's move on. We're going to learn how to tell what the degree of a monomial is. The degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of all of its variables. So when we add the exponents of all of the variables in a monomial, that will give us the degree of that monomial. Let's look at number 1. 7x y to the 5th z. To tell what the degree of this monomial is, we would have to add the exponents of each of the variables. So let's recall that every variable has an exponent, whether you see it or not. X has an exponent of 1, y is to the 5th power, and z has an exponent of 1 as well. So the degree of this monomial is a 7th degree. Number 2, we have 4a squared b c cubed. Hit pause for a moment and determine what the degree of this monomial is. This monomial is a 6th degree monomial. Polynomials are also classified by degree. The degree of a polynomial is the greatest degree of any of its terms or of any of its monomials. So, to find the degree of the polynomial, we're going to have to find the degree of each monomial and find which is the greatest of those, and that would be the degree of the polynomial. So, let's go ahead and start with the first term. 2rt is a monomial to the 2nd degree. Negative 3rt squared is to the third degree. Negative 7r squared t squared is to the fourth degree. And negative 13 does not have a variable, so it's to the 0 degree. So our monomials are to the second degree, to the third degree, to the fourth degree, and to the 0 degree. The greatest of those is the fourth degree, so that becomes the degree of the polynomial. You take the largest or the greatest degree of any of its monomials. Pause the video for a moment and find the degree of the polynomial on number 2. Number 2 is a third degree polynomial. There are names for the polynomial degrees. Please list these in your notes. A degree of 0 is known as a constant. A degree of 1 is a linear polynomial. A degree of 2 is a quadratic. A degree of 3 is cubic. A degree of 4 is quartic. A degree of 5 is quintic. After 5, we just call it 6th degree, 7th degree, 8th degree, etc. You can hit pause to go ahead and finish writing your notes. Let's continue. There's a standard form to write a polynomial. The terms in a polynomial are written from greatest to the least degrees. So you will order the terms of your polynomial from the greatest degree to the least degree. The leading coefficient of a polynomial is the coefficient of the very first term of a polynomial when written in standard form. Again, the leading coefficient is the coefficient of the first term of a polynomial when written in standard form. Let's practice writing polynomials in standard form. So again, when we write polynomials in standard form, we must order the terms from the greatest degree to the least degree. So let's find out what degrees each of these monomials have. So 3x squared is to the second degree, or it's quadratic. Positive 4x to the fifth is quintic. And negative 7x is to the first degree, making it linear. So now let's order these from greatest to least. Start with 4, positive 4x to the fifth, then positive 3x squared, and then negative 7x. The leading coefficient for this polynomial would be the very first coefficient, and that would be 4. Okay. Number 2. The number 8 is a 0 degree. Negative 2x squared, the monomial is at a second degree. 4x to the fourth is the fourth degree, and negative 3x is to the first degree. So again, in order to write a polynomial in standard form, we must order the terms in descending order from greatest to least in order of their degrees. So the first term is positive 4x to the fourth. The next term is going to be negative 2x squared. Make sure you take the signs with you. The next term is negative 3x, and the last term is 8. Again, the leading coefficient for this polynomial is 4, the very first coefficient when written in standard form. Okay, hit the pause button, Go ahead and work on number 3 on your own and then check your answer. In standard form, this polynomial can be written as negative 7y to the 6th plus 5y to the 3rd minus 2y squared plus y plus 10. And the leading coefficient is negative 7. For some independent practice, you will do numbers 1, 3, and 5, determining whether the expression is a polynomial, and if it is, you're going to identify it as a monomial, a binomial, or a trinomial. And then you're going to find the degree of each polynomial. Let me go ahead and have you do 10, 14, 18, and 20. In order to practice writing the polynomials in standard form, let's work on 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, don't forget to write down any questions that you might have that we can discuss tomorrow and clarify any doubts, any concerns that you might have on lesson 7.4. God bless you and have a great night.